Time that you bought, the argument is that you bought yourself some time and you didn't use it to prepare hospitals, you didn't use it to ramp up testing. Right now,
you're so disgraceful. It's so disgraceful the way you said it. Let me just listen. I just went over it.
Or this rant supposed to make people
I just went over it
in an unprecedented crisis.
Nobody thought we should do it, and when I did it.
But what did you do with the time that you bought?
You know
the
we
month
did.
of February.
You know what we did?
Was a gap.
What do you do?
Month of February.
What do you do when you have no case in the whole United States?
You had cases
when
in February.
excuse me, you reported it. 0 cases, 0 deaths on January 17th.
January. February, the entire
January.
month of
I said in
February. Your video
January.
has a complete gap.
On January 30th.
What did your administration do in February with the time that your travel ban
A
bought
lot.
you? What?
A lot. And in fact, we'll give you a list. What we did, in fact, part of it was up there. We did a lot. Look. You know you're a fake. You know that. Your whole network, the way you cover it, is fake. And most of you, and not all of you, but the people are wise to you. That's why you have a lower approval rating than you've ever had before, times probably 3. And when you ask me that question, let me ask you this: why did Biden apologize? Why did he write a letter of apology? No, that's very important. Why did the Democrats think that I acted too quickly? You know why? Because they really thought that I acted too quickly. We have done a great job. Now, I could have kept it open, and I could have done what some countries are doing. They're getting beat up pretty badly. I could have kept it open. I thought of keeping it open because nobody's ever heard of closing down a country, let alone the United States of America. But if I would have done that, we would have had hundreds of thousands of people that would right now be dead. We've done this right, and we really have done this right. The problem is the press doesn't cover it the way it should be. Go ahead. One more question, Steve. Go ahead.
First and foremost, this is CBS's Paula Reed, and you should know her name and she should be applauded because this is a clinic in good journalism. She's also yet another example of Trump crumbling when pitted against a powerful woman, which seems to be among the defining themes of his presidency. As for the exchange, what becomes increasingly clear with every passing second is that Trump has no response for what his administration did in February. The only talking point he can lean on is the supposed travel ban from China. But here's the thing. A, that was in January, not February, as Paula Reed asked. B, Trump didn't restrict travel from China. The policy simply prohibited non-US citizens who had traveled to China within the last 2 weeks from entering the US. Meanwhile, Americans who had the virus were still free to spread it uninhibited once they arrived. It was also implemented weeks after the first case was discovered in China, so what resulted was a staggering 430,000 people traveling from China into the US since the virus surfaced. Not quite the foolproof solution that Trump claimed it to be. And C, the ban clearly didn't work. You don't get to take a victory lap for employing a strategy that you hoped would stop the spread of the virus when we now have more cases of that virus than any other country in the world. That's not how victory laps work. He's saying this as if his strategy was successful, but in fact, the steps we took to contain the spread were objectively the least effective steps on the face of the earth. But of course, he knows that and so does everyone else. But the reason he leans on the quote, China ban anyway is because that's the only step he even bothered to take in the beginning, however flawed it was. There was nothing else. When Trump should have been advocating for nationwide stay-at-home orders and focusing on ramping up our testing capacity, he was holding televised press conferences declaring that the virus would go away with the heat and claiming that, like a miracle, it would disappear. And as we're seeing from countries like Germany and South Korea, implementing mass testing and making sure the population is aware of the risks was the key to success here. Not travel bans, not painting rosy pictures, not blaming past administrations, but testing and mitigation techniques. Only Trump didn't do that, and that is why we are saying that Trump lost February. And this wasn't even an accident. Even those who participated in the White House's coronavirus task force meetings admitted that testing was only discussed during the last 5 to 10 minutes of the meetings. The fact is that this administration's sole job before everything else is to keep Americans safe. But they wasted the most precious days during the outset of the pandemic not pursuing the known solution, which was testing. By the way, it was no secret. By mid-February, South Korea was already testing into the tens of thousands, and their curve was already flattening. But the fact fact that we never got testing off the ground, and frankly that the White House never seemed to care or even acknowledge it, is a governmental failing the degree to which we haven't seen in modern American history. So it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican or you've never voted in your life, the fact that our government lost a pivotal month doing nothing but blaming Obama, blaming Democrats, blaming the states, blaming governors, blaming the media, blaming China, blaming the Mexican border should infuriate you. Because all of the time spent finger pointing at everyone else should have been used to take steps that would result in saving Americans who are piling up in morgues at a rate faster than we've seen in modern US history. These are our friends and family members and neighbors. They are grocery store clerks and reporters and nurses and doctors, and the one thing I want you to remember, if nothing else, is that those people did not have to die.